The reduction of nuclear materials held by participating nations at the Nuclear Security Summit is one of key agenda items that took center stage in Washington 2 years ago, as well as here in Seoul this year. Different nations have been holding news briefings here at the COEX Media Center to announce their cut pledges. Now, how substantial are these pledges, and are these members doing enough to fulfill their responsibilities? Joining me live on our special set at COEX is Miles Pomper, Senior Research Associate at the Monterey Institute for International Studies, based in Washington, D.C. Miles Pomper, good to see you again.
Good to see you, too.
So let's go over some of the commitments made by participating countries. Now, which country would you say came out with the strongest pledge, and which didn't really bring much to the table?
Well, we've had some pledges that pledges that were made last time that have been fulfilled. For instance, Ukraine had made a pledge in 2010 to get rid of all of the highly enriched uranium. That's bomb-grade uranium that was on its territory. And it just fulfilled that right before the summit. So that was a really big achievement. And then we had a new pledge from Italy, for example, which has pledged to remove its highly enriched uranium as well as its plutonium, which is another material that can be used in nuclear weapons. On the other hand, I'd say that we are hoping for more commitments, for example, from Russia, which unfortunately has the world's largest number of reactors in the world that use this highly enriched uranium, this bomb-grade uranium, and they made no commitments about making any changes to their reactors.
Now, I know that there was a bit of a disappointment in the media center yesterday about Russia not coming out with any kind of announcement regarding that. So are we good to be still waiting for that pledge, or is that gone?
I don't know, and they've put out a national statement. It was only in Russian, so probably a lot of people have not seen it. But that pledge did not include any elements of making these kind of conversions that are really necessary.
All right. So which country do you think should have made a bigger pledge, or should have made pledges?
Well, I would say that the two countries that I think are the most, Russia, as I said before, which just because of the huge amount of this material, and also because the other material that we've seen that have been shown up in cases where there's been thefts and police have actually caught the thieves, almost all of it seems to have come from Russia. So that's where the most danger is in a lot of ways. And since they haven't made a commitment, that's a really big deal. Another is Canada. We saw a pledge by some countries, by the Netherlands, by Belgium, and so on, to convert the facilities that produce some medical isotopes that also use this highly enriched uranium. But Canada is a big producer of these isotopes and still using highly enriched uranium.
So what are some pledges made here to be completed at the Netherlands Summit in 2014?
Well, one commitment that we expect to see later on in the communique is to move towards the entry into force of one of the important treaties in the world of nuclear security. It's got a very long name and called the Convention on the Physical Protection of Nuclear Material, and it's an amendment to this convention.
Handful, mouthful.
But it's getting this in force means that countries would have some legal commitment to take care of the nuclear material within their borders, and so that would be a step forward for the regime.
Right, so that would be to be completed at the 2014 summit. Right, so Miles, why is it so important for these countries to give up highly enriched uranium, and why is it so hard to have them give up these materials?
Well, it's important because highly enriched uranium is the easiest material for terrorists to make nuclear weapons out of. It's actually fairly simple to build what's called a gun-type device. You just take a ball of this highly enriched uranium, you slam it into a hollow sphere of other highly enriched uranium, and it makes a nuclear explosion just that. If you looked at the bomb that was dropped on Nagasaki in Japan, that was one of these gun-type bombs, and they never actually had to test it. Most nuclear weapons, you test the design before you actually use it in weapons. They never tested it because it was so simple to make. So that's really that's why it's so important. Why there hasn't been progress, it's a number of reasons, but some of it just bureaucratic inertia or people getting used to doing certain things a certain way in scientific institutions. And then if you look at issues like dealing with these medical isotopes, it costs money, and these are businesses that don't want to spend money to make the necessary changes.
Right, so the dangers of highly enriched uranium you highlighted, and it only stresses the importance of the Seoul Nuclear Security Summit, where the goal is to prevent these materials from being handed over to terrorists.
Right, and Korea should be commended not only for holding the summit, but also for doing a lot of work in this area. There's been some really good research and really good technologies developed by South Korea, and they made some commitments, in fact, today, to share some of this technology with other countries in Europe and the United States elsewhere, so that the whole world can benefit from Korea's knowledge in the area.
All right, Miles Pomper, Senior Research Associate at Monterey Institute for International Studies. Thank you so much for talking to us today. We appreciate it.